The Matthew effect originates from a parable in the Gospel of Matthew in the New Testament. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. In 571 BC, during the late spring and autumn period, the Tao Te Ching proposed the way of heaven. It takes from those with excess and gives to those in need. But the way of man is the opposite, taking from those in need to serve those with excess. This was proposed centuries before the Matthew effect, reflecting the prehistoric divergence between Eastern and Western civilizations, and the millennial debate over human nature's good and evil shows differences in values and worldviews. Everyone harbors an ideal world in their hearts, yet reality resembles a Rashomon, filled with the disheartening banality of evil, as if our fate is determined solely by faith, circumstance, and chance. In 1935, Chinese geographer Hu Huanyong drew a 45-degree diagonal line on the map, stretching from Heihe in the northeast to Tengchong in the southwest, cutting across the entire country. The Hu Huanyong Line is a boundary for physical geography and historical culture, miraculously coinciding with the 400-millimeter annual precipitation line in China. It witnessed significant historical changes in economic and cultural development between eastern and western regions over the past century. On the eastern side of the Hu Huanyong Line, with only 43.8% of the country's land, holds 94.1% of the population and over 90% of the GDP. These lines mark uneven population and economic distribution, serving as boundaries between prosperity and desolation. In this sense, every country in the world is divided into two parts by such a line. Looking through the prism of the surreal past 3 years, beyond the objective existence of the Hu Huanyong Line in real life, there is also a clearly visible Hu Huanyong Line of human hearts and human nature behind society. The physical dividing line is not what's truly daunting. It is the psychological Hu Huanyong Line that forms the river dividing hearts and the watershed of human nature. Many people spend their whole lives unable to peacefully cross this river or surmount this ridge, unable to joyfully reconcile with themselves on the high ground of human brilliance, and thus remain like angels with broken wings without a sky. In that famous fairy tale, the innocence of a little boy saved the world from the absurdity of time, while the banality of evil born from collective unconsciousness caused conscience and common sense to completely collapse, clouding people's hearts and casting a shadow over the world. Science and wisdom gradually lose their brilliance amid the banality of evil, and time sheds its beautiful facade, leaving behind only the torment and helplessness of the passing years. Innocence alone cannot achieve self-redemption in the real world. An ideal paradise is even less likely to descend compassionately upon this absurd world. Ignorance, lies, and fear have already left no room for common sense and conscience, let alone science and wisdom. The century-long delay of Mr. Democracy and Mr. Science is an indictment of the banality of evil in the world, and marks the extreme degree of numb indifference. Behind every lament for misfortune, many are angry at the lack of resistance. Behind every anger at the lack of resistance, even more resent nonconformity, and every personal failure is always accompanied by countless people who simply go with the flow. When the banality of evil is hijacked by power and infused with so-called moral force, it becomes an almost invincible form of self-destruction. Everyone has the right to converse with God, and each person harbors their own joyful and free Buddha within their heart. Spiritual reconciliation and harmonious integration perfectly explain the beauty of the mundane world and the brilliance of human nature. This explains the fundamental logic of what makes us human and society a society. From Tang and Song dynasties to Ming and Qing, and into Republic era, whenever human nature respected, livelihoods valued, and humanistic spirit honored, Chinese civilization shone brilliantly, radiating extraordinary splendor. Relaxed social environments were always linked to political philosophies and social conditions that loosened restrictions, improved livelihoods, and allowed populace to rest and recuperate in a generous, harmonious atmosphere. Charlie Chaplin once said, "Time is a great author. It can write the ending of the future, and I hope that ending will be peaceful and wonderful." The warmth of everyday life is what most soothes the human heart. The greatest beauty in the world is perhaps the tranquil years spent safeguarding the lights of countless homes. The greatest happiness in life is nothing more than the ordinary, everyday moments in people's lives. Rather than calling Deng Xiaoping's policy of reform and opening up a victory for ordinary people or populist politics, It is more accurate to say it was a return to humanity, and a reaffirmation of humanistic values after deep reflection on past pain. Reform and opening up is akin to the Renaissance. It reawakened conscience, revived humanity, and respected common sense, laying the foundation for modern human society. Hegel once said, "A nation has hope only when it has people who gaze at the stars." Everyone has the freedom to be free from poverty and fear. This aligns with Locke's natural liberty theory. In contrast to autonomous, free individuals, mechanical, dogmatic, and instrumental people exhibit blind superstition, rigid thinking, and lack of humanity. Respecting and upholding humanism and human values is an important cornerstone of Deng Xiaoping's humanistic thought and political philosophy. The world is complex, and to some extent, it moves in a random walk. The pursuit of knowledge means frequent fatigue and occasional surprises. We all hope to meet at the place of truth in life. The depth of our thinking determines the ultimate destination of our lives and careers. Human nature is dark and complex. Both hatred and love stem from it, yet we still quietly hold on to our passion for life along our own paths. As heaven moves with strength, a gentleman should strive for self-improvement. Life is finite, but knowledge is infinite. Even after understanding the harshness of life, we still love it. No matter where we are, there is always sunlight shining upon us. That mark of love will never fade. There will always be unexpected warmth and endless hope in life. No matter how tough the road ahead may be, setting out with the end in mind is ultimately a joyful journey. Hello, New World.